Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. We'll begin class in a seated position. So go ahead and come into either a cross-legged position. If you do so, make sure that the leg that's normally forward, unwind that and exchange it for the opposite foot or leg. Another option is to sit on your ankles. It's a little harder on the knees if you have any injuries around the knee. Sitting on the ankles is a little bit more difficult. It also requires your ankles to be opened up for more. And then we'll start to get settled, noticing our breath, noticing that for the next hour, we are purposely cultivating presence and inviting that holistic practice where we're uniting the physical, mental, and emotional bodies. We can notice an immediate sensation of release when we exhale and sigh it out. It's also a way to start shifting our attention into our bodies, a way to not pay attention to those to-do lists for the afternoon, for the morning. You can inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. For a few moments, check your neck, shoulders, spine. Take a comfortable breath. Inhale, ribcage expands, belly expands. Exhale, notice that soft release. Once again, scan neck, shoulders, down the length of your spine. Now we'll start to shift into deeper integrity with our bodies. Our bodies tend to be passive. We're practicing awareness and presence. Invite a more active seat, perhaps activating the core, lengthening the spine, drawing shoulders down. Notice those subtle vibrations around the cheeks and mouth. Neck, shoulders, down to your fingertips. Deep belly breath, belly expands. Eyes closed or open. Invite 3 deep belly breaths, 3 intentional breaths. Inhaling here, exhaling. Invite a breath for this moment. And for the rest of your day, inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. If your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes. We're going to drop our chin towards our chest. Notice a stretch in the back of the neck, also upper back. Let gravity naturally pull your head down towards the ground. And now lift your chin back to neutral. And then take your chin to look over your right shoulder. Hold. And then opposite side, noticing that side of the neck. Hold here. Your chin moves towards that right shoulder here. Back to center. Gently lift your chin up towards the ceiling to a point that's comfortable. Drop your head all the way back. Release. Hands soft on your thighs or knees, depending on your seat. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears and then draw them down. A few times here, lifting shoulders, drawing them down. Now, as I draw my shoulders down, I'm purposely knitting my shoulder blades closer together. Hands are relaxed. Notice if there's any stiffness here or any inclination to tense up. This is a very gentle way to open and massage around the shoulders. One more round, lifting shoulders up towards your ears, drawing them down. Now release your hands behind you. You're going to cup your forearms with your hands. Check the length of your spine, lengthen your spine, shoulders drawn down. You want a deeper stretch around the chest and a deeper opening around the shoulders. Press your palms together into a reverse prayer. Hold here. And then release your hands. One shoulder shrug. Shoulders up towards your ears. Draw them down. On an inhale, we're going to lift our arms up overhead. Palms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen your arms here. Don't forget your breath. Round your spine, chin towards chest, palms towards the front. And then release. Start to lengthen your left leg out in front of you. Press your right foot right against your thigh. Now for a moment here, we're going to flex our left foot and we're pressing our heel towards the front. You're going to notice you're activating a stretch here in the calves, behind the knees, hamstrings. Notice any tendency for the body to collapse. Lengthen the body, draw the shoulders down. Hold here. Noticing that stretch here. It's very gentle. And then we'll prepare to start to fold down. Lead through your chest, your heart. Do the best that you can to keep your spine long. The goal is not to touch your toes. You're folding, leading through belly and heart. Keeping a nice long spine, focusing mostly around the hamstrings, but your attention can go anywhere from calves or hips or glutes, lower back. Just depends what is asking for your attention. Invite about 5 breaths here. You don't have to count the breath, but know that you have a few breath cycles to deepen, to notice where your boundary is, and fold a little bit more. Unite your breath. Your breath is here to assist you to fold. Inhale. And exhale. Release. Right foot on the floor. Start to lengthen your left arm out. Twist towards the right. Now as you're twisting towards the right, you're lengthening the spine. Chin shifts towards that right shoulder. Invite a comfortable breath here. Keep that left foot flexed. Hold. And then release. Opposite side. Lengthen that right leg. For a moment, we're going to press our left foot against our thigh. Purposely lengthen your spine and then flex that right foot. Take a breath or two here. Inhale. Invite a little bend to that right knee. Lead with your chest, your heart, and fold. Breathe into your boundary, fold a little bit more. Keep that right foot flexed. And then release. Left foot on the floor, take your right arm out, twist towards the left. Lengthen your spine, keep that right foot flexed. You're taking your chin towards your left shoulder. Take a comfortable breath. And then release. Transition into your tabletop. Hands right beneath your shoulders, knees, hips width distance apart. Press that left palm firmly onto the floor. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. So as I'm lifting my arm, I'm lifting my arm and also reaching back. I want to get that full opening around the shoulder. Stretch here around the right side body as well. Release your hand, opposite side. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Shifting that shoulder back. And now drop your hand. Inhale, let's lift up into a downward facing dog. Hold your down dog. A few breaths here. You're creating some heat in the body. Pressing your palms, bringing your chest closer towards your thighs. You have a little bend to your knee. You're lifting your heels as high as you can. Invite a deep belly breath. Hold the pose. And then from your downward facing dog, we'll move through our vinyasa, plank pose, lift your core up towards the ceiling. We're warming up the body here, so remain here an extra breath or two. Keep your elbows close to your torso as you release down towards the floor. Keep your elbows close to your torso here, hands frame around your chest. Tops of the feet are on the floor. As you lift up and extend the spine, upward facing dog. Now check your shoulders. Sometimes we collapse our body. Lift. There's a stretch here in the abdomen. Be careful with your lower back. Curl your toes to support you as you lift back up into your downward facing dog. Hold your down dog. Inhale, exhale. Moving a little quicker, plank pose. You take your breath, release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Chest moves towards your thighs. Lift your hips, ground through your palms, deep belly breath. And then move at your own pace, plank pose. Release down towards the floor and then inhale up, upward facing dog. And then shift up into a downward facing dog. Once in your down dog, lift your right leg, bend your knee, stack your hips, hold. And now right knee towards that right elbow. Lift your core towards the ceiling. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Generous breath. And then right knee towards your left shoulder, hover, or left elbow. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. And release your foot back down towards the floor. Invite a generous breath. And now lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Left knee towards that left elbow, hover. Press firmly through your hands as you lift your leg back up, bend your knees, stack your hips. Left knee towards your right elbow. Generous breath. Press firmly through your palms as you lift your leg back again, bend your knees, stack your hips. And then release your foot back down towards the floor. And then shift down into your child's pose. Either knees close together or towards the edges of your mat. You have two options with your arms. You can lift your arms or hands can extend out, or you can frame your feet with the backs of your hands. Roll your shoulders forward. Either expression of your child's pose. Inhaling whatever supports you, exhaling, releasing what does not. One more breath. Release your child's pose, lift back up, downward facing dog. Hold that down dog. Inhale, exhale. Plank pose, hold your plank pose, release down towards the floor. Inhale up. Upward facing dog. Notice that stretch in the abdomen. You're strengthening and opening throughout your lower back. Curl your toes, lift up, downward facing dog. Feel free to inhale here, exhale, side out. From downward facing dog, plank pose, hold your plank pose. Activate glute strength here, quad strength here. Release down towards the floor and then inhale up. Upward facing dog, shoulders away from your ears. Downward facing dog. Make sure you relax your head, your neck. Last round, from down dog into plank pose. Ideally, you're exhaling as you're releasing down towards the floor, and then inhaling up in your upward facing dog. Hold that upward facing dog, and then lift up the downward facing dog. Once in down dog, lift your right leg, bend your right knee, stack your hips. Right knee towards that right elbow, hover. And then lift your leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Right knee towards that left elbow, hover. Release, lift your leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor. Take a generous breath. And then lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. Left knee towards your left elbow. Now press through your palms firmly as you lift your leg again. Bend your knee, stack your hips. Gather your breath. Left knee towards that right elbow so your knee crosses in front of your chest or belly. Press through your palms, lift your leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor and shift up into a forward fold. Remain here in your forward fold. Feet hips width distance apart. Soften your neck, your head. Bend your knees. Drop your belly towards your thighs. Cup your elbows with your hands. Rock towards the left. Rock towards the right. Open up hips. Open up your side body. You'll drop that right hand onto the floor, shin or thigh. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. There's a generous bend to that left knee. You're in a twist. Take a comfortable breath. Don't forget to breathe. And then press ever so slightly through that right heel to intensify a stretch around the hip, the hamstrings, the hips. And then release. Right hand on the floor, shin or thigh, lift up, come into that twist. There's a generous bend to your right knee. You can lengthen that left leg for a deeper stretch in hamstrings, hips, glutes. Invite your comfortable breath. Release your hands. We're going to inhale, sweep up to standing. Once your left hand presses against right hand presses against left hand, we'll take a moment to practice presence. We inhale and exhale for the day we've had so far, welcoming our breath, welcoming our experience. We inhale and exhale for this moment. And then we inhale and exhale for the rest of our day. If your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes, release your hands. We're going to shift into our goddess pose. You're going to come into a wider stance here. Now it depends for everybody how wide their stance is. Just make sure that as you rotate your toes to face the opposite sides of the room, it feels comfortable to bend your knees and tuck your tailbone down. So that might mean you adjust your stance to be a little wider or less wide. Now, as I'm here, hands meet in front of my heart, or you can lift your arms up. As I'm here, I'm engaging my glutes and my quads. I'm purposely reaching my knees back as I drop down, dropping my tailbone. Lots of grounded strength here in this pose. Study your breath. In each pose, we look for that effort and ease in the pose. Always looking for effort and ease. Take your hands in front of your heart and then lift back up. We'll shift into a wide-legged forward fold. Once again, if you need to adjust that stance, go ahead and do that. Toes towards the front or slightly inward. Hands to hips. We're going to fold halfway and then remain there, folded halfway. Notice the stretch in the glutes, hamstrings behind the knees. Back is flat. And now drop your hands towards the floor. Check in with your neck. Neck is relaxed. You're very purposely softening and dropping the torso. Up to you. You can grip your toes with your fingertips. You can cup your elbows with your hands. Inhale. Exhale. Deep belly breath. And now take your hands to the mat. We'll bring our feet closer together, feet hips width distance apart. Left hand on the shin. On shin, floor, thigh. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. Be purposeful in reaching your arm up. Don't forget to breathe here. And then release. Opposite side. Bring your left arm up towards the ceiling. Reach up purposely here. Focus also on hamstrings, hips, and glutes. Distribute your weight on both edges of your feet. Release your hand. This time we're going to roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Hands frame your hips. This is going to be a strong mountain pose. If I try to move you, it'd be difficult to do so because you are so grounded. Inhale here. Exhale. Breathing for the day we've had, and now breathing for this moment. And then breathing for the rest of our day. The more difficult parts of holistic yoga practices is always that presence, that breath, that stillness. You can always inhale here, exhale, side out. Release your hands. Last goddess pose. Lengthen your stance. Toes towards the opposite sides. Bend your knees, engage glutes and quads. Core is active. I'm tucking my tailbone in. Neck is soft. Strong body, strong mind. Even breath. Always want to find that equanimity in all the poses. What requires effort? What requires ease? Inhale. Exhale, hands in front of your heart center. Sit a little deeper. Generous breath. Release the pose. Toes towards the front or slightly inward. Feel free to adjust your stance. This time, interlace your fingers behind you. Purposely draw your shoulder blades closer together. Hinge at the hips halfway and hold. Now drop all the way down. Keep your shoulder blades closer together. Watch your neck. Neck and head are soft. You can invite a little bend to your knee. Deep, generous breaths. Feel free to hear your inhale and your exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then release your hands towards the floor. Bring your feet close together to a regular forward fold. Press that left hand onto the floor. Bring your right arm up towards the ceiling. Take a comfortable breath. Remember, generous bend to that left knee. And then release, opposite side. Comfortable breath. Sink that left heel into the floor. Open your glutes, hamstrings, hips. Release your hand back down to the floor. This time, we'll take our hands to our shins. 3 rounds. We inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, softening neck and head. Second time, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, third round. After that third round, your choice how you come up to standing. Make it your practice. Arriving to your breath, arriving to your body, hands in front of your heart center, or hands framing your hips, eyes closed or open. Inhale here, exhale. We'll shift into a 2-legged balance before we move into some balancing warrior 3 poses. First, lift your arms up, interlace your fingers, palms up. So in any of these balance poses, make it a practice to find a point to focus on, and then lift your heels halfway all the way up. Now it's okay to make adjustments to that point, but then once you settle there, hold. You're holding the pose, inviting a calm breath, noticing what in your body needs adjustment to create that dynamic of effort and ease in your body. Bring your shoulders down. Remember, you can lift your heels halfway or all the way up. Release your hands, release your heels. Pedal your feet back and forth. And then we'll start to prepare for a warrior 3. You're planting your left foot firmly onto the floor and take your right foot just a few inches out behind your foot. Keep a little bend to that knee. That's natural to help the body balance and to sway and also not to injure your knee. And then you're dipping your chest simultaneously as lifting that right leg. Now you're activating core strength. There's also a lot of glute strength here, and also quad strength, and also your hips have to open up a little bit. Move so slowly with your breath, just seeing where your warrior 3 is today at this moment. Hands can remain in front of your chest, or come into a different position, like an airplane, your arms out in front of you. It's helpful for me to keep my gaze steady to one point. Keep that gaze steady. Feel free to step in or out of the pose. And then start to release your hands down onto the floor. Now make sure those hands, those fingertips are right beneath your shoulders. So lift your right leg as high as you can, standing splits. Distribute that weight on that left heel. Drop your belly towards your left thigh. See if there's any different experience for you if you try to square your hips towards the floor. And then right foot. meets that left foot forward fold. Let's inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Second round, inhale halfway up. You've got your own pace here. After that third round, your choice, how you come up to standing. Make it your practice. Move so slowly and intentionally. At any point, inhale here, exhale, side out. Noticing by honoring our breath, we're honoring our experience of ourselves. Release your hands, inhale, arms lift up, palms up towards the ceiling, lift your heels halfway or all the way up and hold. Keeping your gaze steady here. For active glutes and quads as well, heels lifted halfway or as high as you can. Release your heels, release your hands, pedal your feet back and forth on the mat, and then we'll prepare for our warrior three pose. This time we ground our right foot onto the mat, and then we take our left foot a few inches behind us or about a foot. Simultaneously lift your left leg and drop your chest at the same time. And then a little bend to your knee. Keep your gaze steady. Feel free to step in or out of the pose. And then start to drop your hands onto the floor. Double check that your hands are right beneath your shoulders. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Drop your belly towards your thigh. Soften your neck. Left foot meets that right foot. 3 rounds. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Second round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, halfway up. After that third round, your choice, how you come up to standing. Be intentional. You have the option of how you come up to standing, also how you arrive to your mountain pose. Hands framing your hips or hands in front of your heart center. Inhale here. Exhale. Feel free to exhale, side out. And then start to shift into your chair pose. We're going to bend both knees, lift our tailbone as high as we can, radiate our arms forward. Sit deep into your seat. Breathe into your glutes and quads, your heels. Inhale here, exhale, bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. 1 round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release that back plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, lift up, downward facing dog. Once in your down dog, lift your right leg, bend your right knee, stack your hips, generous breath. Right knee towards that right elbow, hover, pressing firmly through your palms. As you lift your leg back again, bend your knee, stack your hips. Right knee towards your left elbow, so your knee crosses a little bit in front of your belly, your chest. Lift your leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Release your foot back down to the floor. Take a deep belly breath. And then lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. Left knee towards your left elbow, hover, pressing through your palms. Lift your leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Remember your generous breath. Left knee towards that right elbow. Your body is active, needs oxygen. Ribcage expands on your breath. Lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Now release your foot down towards the floor. Drop your knees onto the mat and shift into your tabletop. Hands right beneath your shoulders. Knees, hips width distance apart. We inhale up into our cow pose and cat pose. Cow and cat, moving at your own pace with your breath. Very simple poses to protect the length of our spine. Inhale up. Exhale, round your spine. Come back to neutral. Lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Round your spine, knee towards chest, chin towards chest, hover. And then drop your knee. Opposite side, lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Rest through your palms as chin and knee shift towards your chest. There's a rounding in your spine here. Drop your knee, one round, cow pose. And then one round, cat pose. Hold that cat pose. Chin towards chest. And release. We'll start to shift into a pigeon pose. So you're going to draw your hands forward and then take that right knee to rest right behind that right wrist. Make adjustments with that left leg if you need to, usually just scooching it back a little bit. We're going to inhale, lengthen our spine. You're balancing on your fingertips here. You're shifting most of that attention to that right glute, right hip. Start to drop down towards the floor. And then your choice. You can keep your head lifted. That's going to alleviate some pressure on that right hip. Or you can bring your forehead all the way down to a fist or to the mat. You're dropping your belly towards the floor. You're releasing that rounding in the lower back. About 5 breaths here. Deep belly breath. Ground your palms onto the mat. And then lift back up into your tabletop. Really shift your knees right about with your hips width distance apart. You can shift your hands forward, opposite side, pigeon pose, left knee towards that left wrist. Lengthen that right leg behind you. For a moment here, we're going to extend throughout the spine. Shoulders away from your ears. And then drop your forearms onto the floor, keeping your head lifted to release some pressure from that left hip, or drop your forehead to a fist or to the floor. 5 breaths. Belly drops towards the floor. Deep belly breath. And exhale. We'll start to release the pose. We'll go ahead and transition to sit in our cross-legged position. A little meditative breath here. 3 breaths. We inhale and exhale for this day we've had so far. We inhale and exhale for this moment. We inhale and exhale for the rest of our day. Your eyes are closed. Open your eyes here. We're going to take our left hand over our knee and then twist towards the right. Chin towards your shoulder. Hold. You're using that grip on your knee to intensify the twist. And then release, opposite side. Hold. Come back to center. Drop your chin towards your chest. Roll your head from one shoulder to the next. Quickly or slowly, notice what's next, what feels sore. Take a moment there to explore. A few more moments there. If you prefer to work in some meditation, you can bring your head back to a neutral position. Otherwise, about 3 to 5 more breaths here. We store a lot of tension in neck and shoulders, so the moment here to release. By storing a lot of tension, what I mean by that is that we move throughout our day, not that conscious of all our body's movements. And when we're busy in our mind or stressed, we will clench up different body parts, and on some body parts we tend to clench more than others, that being around your neck and shoulders. Right now we're opening, releasing, softening, noticing anything that feels sore. And then start to bring your head back to neutral. Inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. And then we'll start to lengthen our legs out in front. We're going to slowly release down towards the floor. So first, palms up towards the ceiling. You're going to be engaging your quad and your core, your quads, and your glutes for support here. As you slowly roll down and hover, that's the key word. You hover. Your heels can float off the floor, or for extra support, you can release your heel on the floor. Careful with your spine, and then drop your head all the way back. Got a natural breath here. We'll bend our right knee, cup that knee with our hands, round our spine, forehead towards our knee, chin towards chest, and then drop our head all the way back. Opposite side, bend your left knee, cup that left knee with your hands, round your spine, forehead towards that knee, and then drop your head all the way back. Bend both knees, and then massage that lower back. We'll start to transition into a twist. Drop your knees towards the right. Bring your arms out to a T. Drop your head towards the left. Scan your body and notice where can you soften just a little bit more. Scan neck, down the spine, shoulders, hips especially. Imagine your knees dropping further towards the floor. Take a comfortable breath. It's harder to access that full deep belly breath in a twist. Just take a comfortable breath. And then bring your knees back to center. Drop your knees towards the left. Drop your head towards the right. Once again, being purposeful here. Scanning neck, shoulders, down the length of your spine. Imagining your knees melt further towards the floor. Open up your hips. Take a comfortable breath. Notice where can I soften just a little bit more? How can I feel more supported by the ground? Take another breath. Exhale. You bring your knees back to center. Start to lengthen your legs. We'll start to prepare for our final resting pose. However, if there's one more pose you need to feel more complete for the class, take a moment with that last pose. Let's take an intentional breath here. Deep belly breath, expanding your belly as much as you can, and then exhale, side out. Powerful exhale requires powerful inhale. Feel free to take another breath or two, as many as you want. Reacquaint yourself with your full breath. It's the same breath you can go back to at any time in your day. And then as we prepare for Shavasana, be aware that you can either practice some deep breathing or allow your breath to be natural, no control of the breath, not even think. There's a diversity of yoga classes that are offered, all different types of modalities. This last resting pose is pretty universal. The pose we usually hold the longest. The pose that teaches us the wisdom of doing nothing. It's a way to become familiar with your body when you're not expected to do, you can just be. Inhale and exhale. Soften your forehead and jaw, neck and shoulders, down the length of your arms to your wrists, palms, and fingertips. Notice that we tend to hold on and clench our hands so much throughout the day, holding things, clenching things. Notice how your palms, your fingers feel when you're purposely softening them. Perhaps imagining your fingertips float just a little bit more. Soften the muscles along your spine, upper back, mid back, lower back, all the way down to your tailbone. Soften around the hips, behind the knees, down to your ankles and toes. Observe sensations without judgment, including your thoughts. Just notice them. And then we'll start to shift our awareness back to our breath. Inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. Restoring some movement to your fingertips and toes. You can invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, interlacing your fingers, and or turning your body to the left or to the right, allowing your body to remain heavy and relaxed. And after another generous breath or two, start to make your way up to your seat. You've been practicing awareness and presence throughout the class. Take a moment to make those little adjustments that bring your body into deeper integrity. We'll lengthen our spine, draw our shoulders down. Once again, we'll invite a generous and leisurely breath. That's a very particular type of breath. There is no hurry here. And then we'll seal the class with an intentional breath. Let's take our hands in front of our heart center in gratitude and appreciation of our breath and our experience. We inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me is the highest in you. Namaste.